Hello. I wanted to talk about the ubiquity of bacteria exercise we did past week. I got some great theories about why there were no colonies on some of the plates from all of your homework assignments, and I wanted to share these with the whole class because some of them were really fantastic. They were great testable theories where you could design a whole experiment on your own in order to see if they were supported or not. So, the first one that had no colonies was the freshly cleaned counter. So, some of the theories that I saw were perhaps the counter was cleaned with disinfectant rather than just soap, which sterilized it or came very close to doing so. Perhaps the area still had cleanser on it and the cleanser was still wet, and when it was sampled, it continued to inhibit growth in the petri dish. Another possibility was that perhaps the area sampled was too small. This could happen if you just took a Q-tip, touched it to the counter, and decided to rub that on the petri dish. You might have only sampled a few millimeters of area. Um, Another possibility was perhaps the student did not properly inoculate the plate. Now, this could go for any experiment where there are no colonies growing. Perhaps the media was made improperly. This is always a possibility. If you are making your own media and perhaps you miss a step and you forget to add one of the nutrients, then it might not be nutritious enough for any bacteria to grow on it. Um, Another possibility was that perhaps the media was the wrong type for this bacteria. Maybe it's a bacteria that actually requires lots of nutrition and some protein and some carbohydrates of a very specific type, and those weren't provided in the standard media that was used. Another possibility was perhaps the temperature in the incubator was wrong for this type of bacteria. Maybe it's something that likes to grow in cool, dark places, and we incubated it in a very hot incubator, and that killed it off instead of allowing it to grow. Another surface that had zero colonies on it was the swimming pool cover. Some theories included perhaps the chlorine in the pool was still affecting the growth throughout the whole incubation time. So that would be similar to the cleanser still being wet on the counter. Another possibility was that perhaps the sample wasn't incubated long enough to see growth. Again, that could happen on any petri dish, not just the pool cover. Um, some bacteria grow more slowly than others. So if you only wait 12 hours, you might not see anything yet. Sometimes you have a bacteria that grows so slowly you could wait 2 days and not really notice much. Another possibility was that perhaps the sample was incubated in ambient air, but the bacteria is normally anaerobic or only very minimally aerotolerant. Again, that could go for anything, any experiment, not just the pool cover. I think that person might have been picturing somebody sampling from a little tiny nook and cranny inside one of those pool covers that has the little bubble wrap texture to it. And then another theory that I didn't see on anybody's homework, but that I would think would be an interesting one to test and that we'll actually discuss later in the course is the swimming pool cover is presumably outside, and UV light sometimes kills bacteria. So a possibility was that the bacteria wasn't growing on the pool cover because it was out in direct sunlight all day. It's a testable theory. So I just wanted to get everybody thinking about if there was any theories that they hadn't come up with or that might help them to think outside the box for later experiments we might discuss in class. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to me, or you could even reach out to one another using the discussion boards.